Why am I not receiving any job interviews? That's a very often asked question that I receive on this channel here. And of course, there could be a million reasons why you are not getting any job interviews. But when you really start looking at this in more detail, it really comes down to, okay, let's look at your resume, because most likely there is a key why you are not getting any job interviews. So in today's video, I actually went to visualize the application process, but also identify the different reasons on your resume, and then how you can really go and fix those reasons, fix those issues, so that you increase your chances of getting a job interview. I mean, for one, you have to understand there is a very competitive job market out there. It could be that you are a great candidate and have good skills and everything, but maybe the company where you apply for a job has received resumes of people that are much more qualified than you. So it's not necessarily something that you are doing wrong, but there could be better, more higher qualified people pretty much in front of you. And so you're more maybe like a backup option from that perspective. But let's start looking at your resume and let's visualize the process, and then see if there's anything we can do already here to improve your chances of getting that phone call where you get invited to a job interview. All right, let's take a look. All right, so why are you not getting any job interviews? First of all, you need to know no job interviews. That means no job offer, no career. And how do we overcome this hurdle? So first of all, you're not getting any job interviews at all. Could it be your education? So we'll start on this graphic here. I visualized the entire process, and I also visualized the steps that your resume will go through on the next page. So let's go through this process. Education. If you have education, your chances of getting a job interview are significantly improved. But if you don't, we'll move to the right here in the graphic. How do you overcome this problem? And the first step really would be, I want to say, a quick fix, and I put quick fix in quotes, is IT certifications. You can do IT certifications fairly quickly compared to a college degree that takes significantly longer. I mean, college degrees, the minimum is 2 years, 4 years on average for a bachelor's degree. But yeah, IT certifications is the next step to really overcome that missing education. And I leave this very generic. We can talk about certifications differently, but look at IT certifications and potentially do IT certifications in college, depending on where you are in your overall life, from a life stage perspective and from a career perspective. So let's say you have education, and now the next thing is experience. Do you have any job experience, any work experience at all? And if you don't, how do you get this type of job experience related to your job application? So you can look into internships. You can look into building projects and portfolios. And those projects and portfolios is a good step where you can showcase what you have been doing. You can even go and start your own business and then use that, and I want to say, as part of a project and portfolio, but you can also build up job experience from running your own business. I leave this very generic here, not tell you what type of business, because we're not very detailed on what type of job are we applying for. This is really just how do you get job experience. All right, back to the left side. Now we're looking at the resume. So you have education, you have experience. Now it comes down to your resume. And if you still don't get any job interviews, the problem is most likely on your resume. And we'll talk about the resume here on the next page, but let's assume that your resume is good enough that you get a phone screen. And well, then it goes silent, crickets. It goes back to your resume. Your resume might have misrepresented you, that the recruiter decided not to move forward. It could also be really, and that's the next step, again, I'm labeling it as a dead end here at the bottom, that you just bonked that phone screen for whatever reason. And let's look at how do you need to prepare for a phone screen. It's not just wait for the phone call and then pull things out of thin air. You need to prepare yourself for the phone screen and then really ace it. And I really have to say ace it. It's not something half-ass because that will not get you very far. So how do you prepare for the phone screen? I'm talking about presentation, preparedness, interview skill, and confidence. So you need to present yourself appropriately in the phone screen. There will always be the same type of questions in the beginning where the recruiter just wants to learn more about you, and you need to be able to present yourself. Then there will be additional questions that are related to the job and to your resume and to your work experience. So you need to be prepared so that you can respond quickly. And that also goes back to the interview skill. You need to be able to give appropriate answers that are descriptive and easy to understand for a non-technical user, which the recruiter usually is. And you need to be able to pique more interest so that they ask follow-up questions. And that's really what you want, because then you have a dialogue going, and that really catches their interest and makes them interested in potentially showing your resume to the hiring manager. And then, of course, confidence. If you sound weak and tired and not interested during a phone screen, why even pick up the phone? You need to be able to sound confident and represent that verbally. Keep in mind, this is all verbally. You don't have the visual aspect that can support your confidence. So think about it, do these items, and then reassess. And then hopefully you get past the phone screen to the job interview stage. So, but now let's move on and take a look at the stages and steps that your resume will actually go through, that your job application will go through, because there's quite a few hurdles along the way why you not get a job interview. So at the top, we have the job application. You send it in with your resume, and the first hurdle is the ATS, the applicant tracking system. This is the biggest hurdle for everyone, and if you don't overcome the ATS, that usually has several reasons. So for one, it could be a formatting issue, that your resume itself is just really bad from a formatting perspective. That is not just grammar and spelling. There could be really just how it is structured. There could be tables in there or graphics. Everything that makes it difficult for the ATS, a machine, to read your resume could throw it off and throws you into the dumpster. So you will not get past this. Second thing is the content. So if the content is not well aligned with the job description, it's challenging for the ATS to decide if you are the right candidate or not. So you apply for a cybersecurity job, but your resume shows that you are just a system administrator or a database administrator. It's a big mismatch. There's most likely not any keywords that line up with the job description that you applied for. Your content is just not enough that the ATS wants to move you forward. Also keep in mind, an ATS is in place. The applicant tracking system is in place to help the recruiter, because they get hundreds or maybe even thousands of job applications, and they don't have the capacity to look at that many resumes. So the ATS is the biggest hurdle, and the goal of the ATS is it actually has two goals: filter out as many candidates as possible, and those are the candidates that are not a good match, and really identify the best possible matches and move them on to the recruiter for the human review. And that's the next step here now. So you made it past the ATS, and well, you're in the dark. You don't know that your resume made it to the stage. The recruiter looks at your resume, at your job application, and then decides, nope, this is a false positive. The ATS did not do a good job, and it could have different reasons. It could be a skill set or experience, and that's usually, okay, you have a nicely formatted resume, it's easy to digest, but your overall skill set and your experience are not a good match, and so the recruiter just filters it out. You will never hear from them again. You might get a standard email response, hey, we're moving on with other candidates, blah, 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 have a nice day. So let's say you aced your resume, aced the human review from the recruiter. Now you move on to the phone screen stage. And that's really a challenge that is sometimes difficult to overcome, because now the human factor plays a role. And you don't know how stressed or how good the day has been going for the recruiter. That could be a hurdle for you. But in general, it's usually the candidate that is failing the phone screen. And I mentioned this previously, the preparedness for that phone screen lacks. And therefore, you're not doing yourself a favor and you're failing it here. And sometimes the phone screen could also be a dead end for you because of technical skill. There are definitely phone screens that contain technical questions, and that is a set of questions that the recruiter has received from the hiring team, from the hiring manager, to again filter out candidates that are not a good match. Nobody wants to waste time on candidates that are not good enough to do the job later on. Here's an example about myself where I failed a phone screen. And I think this goes back 10, 12, maybe even 13 or 14 years. I received an invite from Facebook to apply for a job. They actually found my LinkedIn profile, and I sent them my resume, and then I got a phone screen. So I was really excited, and parts were really good. I was able to present myself really good. The position sounded interesting, even though there were some, I want to say, disconnects between my skill set and I want to say, really what they were looking for. But hey, if you don't try, who knows? So now the phone screen turned into a technical skill assessment, I want to say. The recruiter had 5 technical questions for me, if I recall, and they were related specifically to that role. And well, that's where I failed. Overall, I was a good candidate in many different ways, but on that specific technical side, and that's something that I only found out from the phone screen itself, where is this focusing on this job role? I failed on that technical skill, and so I was thrown into the dumpster. I did not work at Facebook. Moving back to the very left side. So you made it past the phone screen. Now your resume and your application has to overcome one more hurdle, the hiring manager. The hiring manager will review your resume and your application, and either the hiring manager is excited to talk to you and you will move on to the interview stage, or the hiring manager sees something on your resume that he or she doesn't like. And you will never know what that is. In most cases, the hiring manager, aka the recruiter, will not give you that level of detail. If you make it past the phone screen to the hiring manager, very often the recruiter will call you back or email you at least and say, hey, sorry, this did not work out. The hiring manager has better candidates they want to talk to first. So that's how you get filtered out. But these are the stages in general that your job application and your resume have to overcome before you can make it to that interview stage. So, and with that visualization, I think it might be much easier for you to understand how difficult this can be. So I hope this visualization of the job application process and of your resume and what to fix to make your resume better is helpful. Let me know in the comments what questions you have. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do so as well. And then I would say I see you next time in my next video. Thank you for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.